We'll know on Monday.
We'll know on Monday relative to the Commissioner Deeds. I have item number 9 with the Fire Department. Chief, if I could ask you, I have a couple of questions relative to this. Maybe you could explain explain this for us.
Okay. Well, this is an app that we use for our essential firefighters to respond to alarms. It gives all the information that we're needed to figure out where the alarm is at. It lets everybody else know where people are coming from. It gives us hydrant locations. It tells us other things like streets that are closed, routes that we need to go to. So it's an agreement that we've already had in the past, and we're just looking to renew the agreement.
So we're currently using this?
Yes, we're currently using it, yes.
That answers it.
Can you say that again?
That answers it then.
Yes, yeah, we are already using it, and we're looking
So you're
to
extending
update.
it for 5 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Chief.
And the chief will be back for the budget hearing at 12:45. So, Councilor Bay.
Thank you. I have item number 10.
Good afternoon, councilors. My name's Samantha Lynette. I work on the innovation team, and I am filling in for Adria today. So this item is to waive the RFP process and enter into a contract with Syracuse University for us to be able to continue to work with Janelle Robinson, who's their community geographer up on campus. The contract would run through December 31st, 2018, and is paid for by our grant dollars. There's more information on the sheet coming around, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? Hold this up for the yellow. Any questions from anyone?
Thank you.
No,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Call that ready.
Thank you. Councilor Rudd.
I have items 11, 12, 13, and 14, and item 11 is just to advertise the hearing for the budget, so we're going to move that. It's ready. 12 we're going to hold, which is just approving the actual budget. We will hold it while we do our due diligence. 13 is to appropriate funds to Leadership Greater Syracuse. I know Pam Burnett is here, but it basically goes to their general operation to support 3 programs. Their Leadership Greater Syracuse, the flagship program, the PLI, the Political Leadership Institute, which is actually a course that I took about civic engagement a couple years ago, and the Nourishing Tomorrow's Leaders. So it's good to go. And if you have questions, Pam Burnett from Leadership Greater Syracuse.
So was it worth it?
Yeah, that was,
He's great at table, isn't he? Answer.
it's a great program. I encourage anybody who's interested to do it. And item, are we good on 13?
Yes.
Item 14 is the city of Syracuse is requesting a comprehensive review by the New York State Financial Restructuring Board, and we're going to hold that, and we're scheduling a finance hearing on the subject next Wednesday. Committee meeting.
Do you know what time or no?
It's at 12:45, immediately after the neighborhood.
Right.
The neighborhood. NBD.
Okay, so a 12:45 committee meeting next Wednesday, which would be the 25th, right? Okay. Councilor Carney.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I have items 15 and 16. You want to walk us through?
Yep, good afternoon. Number 15 is just to apply for a grant for $6,500 for additional pet waste stations and bags for any dog owners. 16 is just we'd like to allocate funds so that we can do some improvements on Sunnycrest ball fields. We'd like to address some slope and drainage issues.
So 16 I'm good with because I agree with it as a problem. 15 though, I have a question on, do we know where we're going to be placing these? I know it says around green space in different parks.
I don't think that's been determined yet. Right now we just had to get the application in, but if you have specific spaces you'd like to see, then we can definitely look at that.
Do you know how many we get?
Unfortunately, I don't. We didn't have a lot of time, and we grant research worked directly with my dog control department.
Okay.
I can get you that information if you'd like.
Yeah, just curious, you know, as to her mentioning different locations that they might be, if there's 8 or if there's 40, it's you know,
Closer to 8.
right. Cool.
The bags that they put in, is there, you know, I've, over my course of chairing parks for 2 years, constant, I don't wanna say neglect, but oversight in refilling those? Is there a process in place or a map that says where they all are?
Meaning they're often empty.
Yeah,
I will address that with my staff. I have 5 employees in dog control that we can make sure that happens more regularly. It's not a lack of inventory, so I'll make sure that,
yeah, Washington Square, I used to get a lot from that area.
okay,
Okay, thanks.
good.
Okay,
Call both those ready.
thank you. Counselor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. I have items 17 through 20. 17, Mary, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, counselors. This is to enter an agreement with CNS Engineers for preliminary and detailed design services for the reconstruction of University Ave between Waverly and East Genesee Street. This was part of the Connective Corridor project that was, we constructed it, but SU paid for it, and we have some maintenance issues and problems with the pavers, so it's to go out and correct all the deficiencies with what was built.
What are those deficiencies, like just pavers or?
A lot of it is settlement of the pavers. That's really the big thing.
Okay, all right.
We're going to be looking at the whole corridor and addressing where we can spend the money. This is an earmark, so it's 80% reimbursable. We haven't seen any Marchicelli come through yet.
Would you, I guess, when would you know if that Marchicelli came through? Or is it not looking likely?
We might find out later this spring. I think they allocate the money in like February, March, and then we might get a supplemental agreement from the state. The money's already been appropriated for the design phase, so this is just permission to enter into agreement with CNS.
Perfect. Barring any questions from Councilor Driscoll, I believe that item is ready.
Yeah, I was just curious, so it's just improvements on flaws that were in the original design, is that?
Yes.
Is that correct?
I mean, this is the section of University Ave with the cycle track.
Yeah.
If you drive it, you'll see a lot of settled pavers. As part of that project, we built pavers through the driveways. A lot of those pavers in the driveways are settling. Some of the pavers in the medians are settling. It's a small stone paver, and we corrected it for the next phase of the connective corridor, so we used a different type of paver.
And being from the west side, I will also ask LaToya, since it's in her district, if she has any questions.
So again, the first construction was paid for by SU, so it's not.
Is there any knowledge of anything happening? I know when this project first happened, we put the bike lanes in, and then the university tore up a block of it to do what was going to be the library, and then they decided not to do it, and it was blocked off for a long period of time, and then they redid it.
Yep, they had to restore it themselves as a result of their project.
So there's no knowledge of it being disrupted as soon as we fix it anywhere along the corridor.
No knowledge now, but you know, everybody's.
Yeah. Okay,
Any further questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
18, we look like we got our commissioner walking up.
18 and 19 are companion pieces.
Perfect, 18 and 19.
18 is just to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with Onondaga County for green infrastructure. 19 is to amend that agreement to add these streets, Geddes Street, Ostrom, and Berkeley.
Okay. Questions from anyone? And when we're talking green infrastructure, are we talking the rain?
Save the rain?
Yeah.
The rain?
Okay. Yep.
Do you know how far on Geddes Street they're?
Geddes would be Delaware to Shawner.
Delaware to Shawner, okay.
That's okay with me.
That's great.
2 blocks.
Perfect. Any other further questions? Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Number 20, I have had a couple conversations. Councilor Carney was reached out to by some of the folks at this address. If many of you remember, this is something we dealt with at the end of last year. And I think this is being brought up for the reason of the tax trust and, you know, why that would all happen. So Councilor Carney has been in contact and is going to try to facilitate a sit-down, I believe, with some folks. And so I'll hold this item unless I hear differently from either side, and we'll go from there. Those are my items. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Boyle.
Thank you. I have item number 20. Mary's here to talk about it a little bit.
Good afternoon, councilors. The city and the school district would like to enter into a contract with BPAS, our actuarial and consulting services, to perform a RFP service on the third-party administrative services for the city's health and dental plans. You know, with the ever-changing world of healthcare, we see an opportunity to go out and possibly save some money. So we would be doing this for the health plan year beginning January 1st of 2019, and again, it will also include the school district.
I don't have any questions on this. Do anyone else have anything?
So is our current agreement not satisfactory? Is the contract running up?
The contract for fiscal year 18 was not signed by the provider, so we are currently we have services being provided, but they have not signed the contract.
I guess what would be the reasoning for them?
It's in their, you mean for our current provider?
Yeah, if we have.
I don't know why they have not signed the contract.
We switched, correct?
No, we are with POMCO. This is POMCO who is
Still
not.
with POMCO.
Right,
Okay.
and we gave them some options under their contract, but they haven't signed the contract.
They haven't executed the additional
Yes,
year.
and I don't know why.
Okay.
So, and then back to the initial one, are we currently unsatisfied with the service from POMCO?
I think there's opportunities out there to possibly save the city some money, and I think it's going to be well worth the fee paid to BPAS to find that out.
Okay. Where is the 35 coming from?
So last year, we came to the council for a Medicare Advantage plan, a fully insured plan, and the contract that was awarded to Aetna. Aetna pays out brokerage fees to any broker that presents them with a new client, and that client signs up. So those brokerage fees have been paid to Harbridge, BPAS Harbridge, and they didn't take the fees as income. They put them in an account for us to use against future RFPs. They handle our GASB 75 RFP and do some healthcare consulting for us also. So we're just going to work off that balance.
Okay, so there's no additional.
There's no cash outlay at this point.
So the idea would be to keep the same plan though, right, with a potentially different
There's
provider?
no change in our healthcare plan or dental plan. It's just going out to the marketplace and saying to the vendors, hey, we've got this great self-insured plan. We would like you to administer it. How much are you going to charge us for this?
So,
And what do their networks look like in terms of discounts from the hospitals, doctors and physicians, and lab services?
So in terms of the administration of the RFP, like what kind of skills are needed and required?
So they actually issue the RFP under the city's name. They collect and go through all the data that's required for these companies to bid on this contract. It's quite a lot. There's 6,800 members in the city's plan. Suzanne, how many are in the school district? 5,400 in the school district's plan. It's a lot of data to go through, so they will sift through all the proposals. They're quite in-depth and detailed. I'm not a healthcare guru. They are. This is their business, and they've done this before for the city, and they brought us Aetna. They've done a very good job for the city.
All right, we'll call that ready.
I was just going to ask, is this similar? No, that's okay. Is this similar to a couple years ago when we saved a couple $1 million?
No, that was the Medicare Advantage plan.
Okay.
That was where we put the retirees over age 65 into a fully insured plan, and there was a lot of competition in the marketplace, and there still is.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilor Allen.
Thank you. I have items 22 through 40. 22, I'll hold for a committee meeting next Wednesday, April 25th at noon. And I have 23, 24, and 25 are all for special permits.
Good afternoon, councilors. Item 23 is a modification to a gas station on East Seneca Turnpike and Brighton Ave. It's the mobile on the corner. And they were requesting more signage.
Do you have a scheduled date for completion for this? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
No. And then item 24 is a restaurant on James Street in the mid-block between Edwards and Collingwood.
Where?
She's on 24. It's a new restaurant. Councilor Driscoll.
What's the exception?
Well, this is in the James Street overlay, so they needed exceptions for signage and setback. They also were recommended to restrict access from the very narrow driveway that is already on James to just residents and employees, and they have done that with signage.
Well, I'll look into this one, Councilor Allen. This wasn't the issue we talked about at the.
Right.
So I'll reach out about that, but I don't see any reason to.
Okay.
I would just mention the setback one. I'm not sure how it gets an exception for the setback, but I would be interested in.
Do we know
Well,
what
that's
the
what she
business or restaurant is gonna be there?
it's called Heroes, H-I-E-R-O-S. A sandwich. No, well, it's spelled with an H. That's all I can say.
Spelled with an H?
Yeah.
H?
H-I-E-R-O-S.
I think you can spell that word however you want at this point.
Or pronounce it.
There's like 10 different
True,
ways.
true, true.
Is it a bar and restaurant? I see it says craft beer. Is it a bar and restaurant?
Yeah, well, we categorize it as a restaurant because
Okay.
that's our definition, encompasses everything, so.
Because they got a lot of bars up there. That's
How
why I
far
asked.
down is that?
How far?
Eastwood?
Yeah, it's right on, is a business
In the
class
middle.
A zoning district on the main street. Mhm.
Okay, thank you. 25.
Yep, so this James Street also is a modification to offices to install a ground sign, and the commission did not grant the full waiver, and they did revise the signage and submitted a double-sided ground sign not to exceed 11.5 feet high or 80 square feet, and they've done that, and actually I think it's about 64 square feet, so definitely reduced from the original proposal.
Okay, so the proposal that's currently before us, it was denied originally because it was much larger and they reduced it?
No, they did reduce it, and that is what is in the resolution. They submitted a revised plan based on the planning commission's night of the public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would that be consistent with what the new zoning would require, or is this
That would
larger than?
be more, and that's a different zoning district. This is a special permit, so offices wouldn't need a special permit, so the signage requirement would be different and smaller.
Smaller?
Do you know, did this property used to be a land bank property?
I don't know. It's towards the DeWitt line, I think across from Sacred Melody.
Yes, yeah. I spoke to a lot of the neighbors and they seemed fine with it. They said the construction thus far has been very, very good and, you know, has improved the neighborhood, so I think they said they were happy to have the sign.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Oh, did you have, I don't know, item 26?
Good afternoon, councilors. Item 26 is an encroachment at 239 East Water Street. Councilor Allen, that's your district. The building that's being built right now will put balconies 17 feet up, encroach 4 feet aerially into the right-of-way.
Tim, when they do that, is there a formula for linear foot like there is for other things, or
For
paying or anything? Not with that.
no, we brought up fees to the council a few years ago, and you guys rejected it. So
Sounds good.
okay,
It's my understanding that this is your last meeting.
it is indeed.
Would you like to leave us with some lasting words?
I just want to thank you all for your work on behalf of the city. It's been an honor to serve the people of the city of Syracuse, and keep doing good work. So thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank
good
you,
luck.
Sam.
We're not applauding your leaving, by the way.
Hi.
Good afternoon. We're sending around the list of the next round for tax foreclosures. In the list, you'll see 14 total properties, 11 vacant residential structures, and 3 vacant lots. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Are any of these vacant residentials demo candidates?
Not according to the land bank's assessment. So not at this point.
Have we been moving any demo candidates in recent months?
No.
In previous phases, not in the last few.
When do we plan on continuing to do that? I'd like to put the cart before the horse,
When there's funding available, we'll be able to move forward with some of those.
I don't know if that's something they want to do.
Is this list different than the list you shared last week?
It is. There are 2 items that had to have new 60-day notices sent out. And so we'll try to put those 2 onto the next agenda.
Okay. Okay.
I once again applaud you for putting this. I like this. Yeah.
All right, we're all set. I'll call these ready.
So moved.
That's it, huh? Okay, so that concludes our study session for the day. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So bad.
We'll be back at 12:45 for the fire department budget meeting.
And it's only